Alright guys, welcome back here. So in this video here, we're going to start talking about if statements. And if statements are really cool to me when I first started learning the program because it gives you some functionality with your code, controlling where the user goes with the code, okay? So first up here, let's go and make a new file, and let's say if statements.py. Alright, so first up here, let's go ahead and declare a number. Let's call this num1, and let's set this equal to your favorite number from here, okay? Now what we're going to do from here is we're going to say if, and we're going to say num1 equals, and we're going to say the number from above here. Then we're going to do a colon, and we're going to hit enter. Notice the space there. The space is what we want, and we're going to say print, and say in quotes, the number is 25. Okay, let's go ahead and save this from here. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to say Python, and we're going to say if statements, and we're going to run this file from here. So we see that because this number is equal to this number from there, we're printing out this part of the code from there. So what good is this? Well, you're going to see a little more in a second here. But do keep in mind that this part right here is a comparison. The reason why we're using 2 equal sign as opposed to 1 here is we're saying, hey, is that equal to 25? And if it is, go ahead and print out this part that's indented right here. Now I can also add on what we call an else clause too here, where I remove the space here. I say else, colon, and I'll say print, the number is not 25. Save. And we're going to run this again here, and we should expect the same result because we're getting to this part right here. We're saying, hey, that number is equal to 25 here. If we change it to be like 30, and then I run this again here, it's going to say the number is not 25 here because we're saying if it's not 25, else go ahead and run this part of the statement from there. Okay, hopefully that's making some sense. Now these spaces are very important from here because these spaces show that this is part of the if statement. All right, in some programming languages you see like curly braces from there, and that indicates a block of code. With Python, these spaces are how you indicate that that is part of the if statement from there. So these spaces are super important, right? This determines it's part of the else clause from there. If I have something like down here, I say print, and we'll just say some gibberish from here, this would print regardless, right? This isn't part of the else statement here because it's not indented. The indentation, this tab from here, shows it's part of the else statement. Okay, now what I can also do from here is I can also say if, we'll do an else if here, so we call it an Elif, which is kind of like a funny word to say, but that's okay. And we can say this is like combining the two. We'll say else if, and we need to specify a condition. If num1 equals 20, we could say something like print the number is 20. Save it here, and I change this to 20 here. We can see it now. We're hitting this part of the if statement from there. Okay, so we have if, we have else if, and then we have else too here, right? And it kind of goes down. So if it's not that one, then the else is almost like the catch-all. All right. Now we can also compare strings too. If we had something like username and set this equal to something like, I don't know, user, let's just call it like admin, and we said something like if username equals admin, colon, and then we'd say print welcome admin. Else if username username, I'm sorry, we need to have a colon right there. That's what's giving me some errors here. We'll say print, and maybe not. Oh, I misspelled it. That's why. We can say something like welcome user, and we can also have an else print welcome guest user, and then I run this here, right? Welcome admin, because that's equal to admin. If it's anything else here, save, and I run this again here, it would be welcome guest user. So hopefully that makes sense right there. Same thing here, but this is with numbers here, and this is with strings from there, okay? So we can also do different comparison types, right? I can also do it if it's not equal, if it's greater than, if it's less than. So let's check that out right now here. I could say something like number 2 is equal to 15 here, and we can say that if num2 is not equal, so we do an exclamation point and then an equal sign, 15, we could print something like print. We could say something like the number is not correct. And then we could say else print the number is 15. Save, run that back here, and we see the number is 15 here. If I change this to be 25 and I run it, then we see the number is not correct from there. So this might be useful if you're doing something where you're looking for something that's not equal to it. Maybe something like a password. I want to say if it's not the right password here, go ahead and say, please try again, or go ahead and lock the user out, stuff like that. All right. So means not equal. All right, you can put that note there if you wanted to. Now we can also say if it's greater than or less than 2. We can say something like num3 here is equal to, I don't know, 99, and we could say if num3 is greater than 90. I'll tell you what, we'll do something like, let's rename this to be test score. Highlight, copy, paste here. I could say print. And by the way, here, to get that space back here, I just hit tab on my keyboard. Print, and we could say something like the test score is an A. Right? And then if we run this here, save it, and then run it, we could say the test score is an A. Now, what if this A, what if 90, the score of 90 here, was included with an A score? We could also say if it's greater than or equal to. So this would include the number 92 with that. So if I save it and I run it back again here, we can see it still is 90. So this is greater than or equal to from there, okay? If I do the opposite, if I say test score 2, and I set this equal to like 64, and I say if test score is less than or equal to 65, and I say print, and then I could say something like, you have failed the test. Save, and then run it back here. And why didn't that work? Save. If it's less than or equal to 65. And I put test score instead of test score 2 there. Save, and then run it back. And then we can say that you have failed the test from there. So this is less than, this is greater than here, and this is greater than or equal to, and this is less than or equal to, okay? All pretty simple here. This is a little new, and this is a little foreign concept that you probably haven't seen in school before here, right? The double equals is a comparison. This is not equal to from there, right? So just to recap here, we have the double equals, which means if it is equal, it's a comparison from here. We have the exclamation point equal sign, which is a comparison, but this is saying if it's not equal, and this is greater than or equal to, and then this is less than or equal to. Now what we can do is we can also put a few conditions within the same if statement from here. So we'll say something like, we'll say username equals something with gamer, gameter, and we'll say something like age equals, I don't know, 18. And what we could say is we could say if name equals gamer and age is greater than or equal to, and that should be username right there instead, greater than or equal to 18, then we could print like welcome to the game, else print invalid user. And we can see that this is comparing if the username is equal to gamer and if they're over 18 years of age here. If I save it and then run it here, it will say welcome to the game. If only one of these statements is not equal to true, or excuse me, if only one of these statements does not return true here, then the print statement will go to the, if only one of these statements isn't true here, well then we'd pop out the if statement and go right to the else. Like if I change this to be something like 17 here, and I save it, and I run this back again, it would say invalid user. So this is comparing both of them in a single if statement from there, okay? Change that back to 18. It's more thorough. They could also have if statements within if statements. From here, you could also say like if, XYZ equals XYZ. That's completely fine. You could have an if statement within an if statement, but this kind of combines it on the same line, okay? We could also have an or in there too, okay? So or. Again. So let's say maybe we're building a game from here, and the player wants to buy a sword in the game, all right? And maybe we have two types of currency. We have gold coins and we have gold bars. And 100 coins is equal to 1 gold bar. So maybe the player has 100 coins, or 100 coins will do here, and we have gold bars. They have 3 gold bars. We could say if coins is greater than 200, or gold bars is greater than 2 gold bars, gold bards. Print. You can buy the sword. Save. So this is comparing or. If that one's true or if that one's true, this would return true from there, okay? And we know that the coins isn't true, but this is true from right here, so we should see this print statement up here, okay? Run that back here, and we can see this right here, All right, guys, that's going to be it for the if statements video here. If statements are really cool to me here because this is one of the first times I can control where the user goes, or kind of giving some information back to the user in some type of way. Okay. Other than that, I think we're good to go for this video here. A lot of this stuff is sort of like once you understand what this little part means right there, or what this word right here means here, a lot of it falls into place here, right? Like I'm expecting you guys to know what a greater than sign is, like hopefully. But yeah, and then other than that, I think we're good to go. Okay. So guys, great job on the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.